you're looking for passage to Solstheim, too bad. I'm not going back there anymore. Sure. Yeah, that's me. Why? Who sent you? Now, hold on. That wasn't my fault. I didn't know they were going to attack anybody. I don't even know how I got here. It's hard to explain. I remember those people with the masks coming on board. Then, the next thing I remember, I was here, and they were gone. That's not right, losing whole days like that. There's been something strange going on there for a while. But after this, I'm done. I'm not going back to Solstheim. Have you been listening to me? I'm not going back there. All right, you have a point. Taking you back to find out who sent them is the least I can do. Besides, maybe you can put a stop to whatever's going on over there. I owe them a bit of payback myself. Well, here we are. This is Raven Rock. Can't say I'm all that glad to see it again. Good luck. Maybe you can figure out what's going on around here.
I don't recognize you, so I'll assume this is your first visit to Raven Rock. Outlander, state your intentions. Mirak, I'm not sure that I do. Just remember, Raven Rock is sovereign territory of House Redoran. This is Morrowind, not Skyrim. While you're here, you will be expected to abide by our laws. Any questions? I'm unsure. I swear I know the name, but I cannot place it. I don't think so. I'm not... The name has something to do with the Earthstone, I think, but I'm not sure what. As second counselor, the security of Raven Rock is my primary concern. This isn't exactly the city of Blacklight. We're on the frontier out here. We've had more than a fair share of troubles. After all we've been through together, I refuse to let Councillor Morvain down. Councillor Morvain is House Redoran's representative on Solstheim. As second counselor, it's my job to support him and make certain his rule is enforced. Your ignorance of our homeland doesn't surprise me. It's the capital of Morrowind. Been that way ever since Mournhold was sacked by the Argonians. I don't visit there often anymore, but we still get the occasional supply ship and visitors from there. Quite a while ago, yes. They cut a bloody swath across most of the southern region of Morrowind. Nobody seems certain why it happened. Attempted expansion, revenge for the enslavement of their people, or perhaps both. Whatever the case may be, thousands of Dunmen needlessly lost their lives. many more were exiled from their homes. Raven Rock started out as an imperial settlement. The Empire decided to abandon it, just as my people were first setting foot here. They left the town a shambles. When House Redoran took over, we turned it around and it became ours. And even if it's been a struggle to make this island livable, we're proud to call it home. Giallo, I was starting to wonder what happened.
We were delayed by bad weather. Before you even ask, yes, have the supplies you requested. But
What?
this load cost me double what we'd agreed on. Nothing I can do about it.
Damn it, Jolland, you know we don't have that much coin.
The East Empire Company didn't give me a choice. They've raised their prices again, and there's nothing I can do about it.
After all these years, they're gouging us from every last drake we have. Let me talk to Laryl. I'll see what we can do.
All right, Admiral. Don't worry about rushing. Just pay me when you can.
Your visit here will be tolerated as long as you abide by our laws. Otherwise, you'll answer to the Redoran Guard.
I'm no fan of the sun. Better than this.
Headed east. May want to give the Talmithran a wide berth. I don't like the looks of that place one bit.
Something amiss. So dear me. That sense your concern.
It's nothing.
Captain Vellet would never allow anything to happen to us.
Perhaps that's reassuring enough for you, but it's something that still keeps me awake at night.
Lori, you need to talk some sense into your husband.
Can't get blood from a stone. As it is, we can barely make ends meet.
That isn't my problem. I was clear when I loaned Garwin the money that I wanted it back by first harvest.
I work for Mogul. You got a problem, you talk to him.
Your visit here will be tolerated as long as you abide by our laws. Otherwise, you'll answer to the Redoran Guard.
I'll give you this warning only once. Stay out of my way, and we'll do just fine. No, wait. I recognize the name, but I'm not sure why. I don't know. I feel strange just thinking about it. A temple, maybe. Here on the island, something about a temple. Fight well.
I've sworn to keep Councillor Morvain safe, and I intend to take that oath to the grave if need be.
Divine smile on you, friend. Let's
Mogul,
get going then.
you looking for trouble? Stay out of my way.
If you're dealing with me, there's only one thing to remember. Pay your debts or end up hurt.
Fight well.
Welcome to Raven Rock, traveler. Could I interest you in any fine ash-grown foods? The Dunmer have been growing food in the ashlands for thousands of years. It was born out of the necessity to survive in the harsh climate of our homeland. And now, with the constant eruptions of the Red Mountain, it's more important than ever.
Can't get blood from a stone.
No, only the Telvanni have the ability to weave living growth from the ash. This simply takes the right ingredients, the right tools, and a lot of patience. I think so, but I can't remember how I know him. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I think so, but the only thing that comes to mind is a shrine near the Earthstone. Got the best merchandise on the island. Have a look for yourself. Just got some of my merchandise off the latest. All sorts of useful things. Got the best merchandise on the island. Have a look for yourself. Next time you're hungry, stop by. I always have plenty of food for sale.
My husband Bendel feared visitors would shun Raven Rock. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
They're incredible.
Murak.
How we ever got them to
I'm
take
sure
this
I've heard that name
land.
before. Haven't I?
We had to do something.
Was it in a dream?
Starved to eat another one of those horrid
May your path be free from danger.
Keep having harvests like this. You'll never have to eat one again.
Always nice to speak to someone from the mainland.
Your visit here would be tolerated as long as you abide by our laws. Otherwise, you'll answer to the Redoran Guard.
husband Bendel feared visitors would shun Raven Rock. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
You haven't seen Cresh's Corellius, have you? That foolish old man's taken my pickaxe again. No, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill pickaxe. I'm talking about an ancient Nordic pickaxe. They don't exactly grow on trees, you know. I prefer to handle these things on my own. Look, if you see Cresh's, tell him to give me that pickaxe back, and I'll pay you for the trouble. No, wait. Maybe. I don't know how I know that name. I'm not sure. I don't want to talk about this. It's the only tool tough enough to crack Stalrim, is what it is. Not many of those beauties left in the world. Forging them is a lost art. The one Creshus borrowed came from the Skull village up north. I traded them some goods for it. Calling Stalrim an ore is like calling my forge a campfire. Some folks say it's enchanted ice, but I think there's more to it than that. I don't think I've come across more than a chunk or two in my lifetime, and smithing's my trade. If you're looking to learn more, you should head over to the Skull village. Someone there's bound to know more about it than I do. A fine question, and the one that I hear most often from visitors to our town. I wish I had a more romantic tale to tell, but I was simply seeking my fortune and chose Raven Rock to ply my trade. Besides, knowing how to repair bone mold armor wasn't very useful in Riften. I had a friend over there, a dark elf named Van Ryth, a very talented armorsmith. Spent a lot of time with the guy swapping smithing techniques. Learned a heck of a lot, including how to repair bone mold. After he moved on to greener pastures, I decided to pack up, move out here, and put those lessons to the test. Been here ever since. Well, it's been a long time since someone from the guilds bothered to make their way out here. So tell me, how's my brother Delvin? Still spending his nights at the Ragged Flagon trying to win Vex's heart? Good to hear. Damn layabout never even bothers to send his own flesh and blood a letter saying how he's doing. Can you imagine? Anyway, I suppose you're looking for work. Well, I got bad news. This place is drier than a damn bone. Eager to make some coin, eh? That's the spirit. I'll tell you what, the guild's got a problem out here that I've been trying to deal with for years, but haven't been able to handle. Don't look at me like that. I'm all alone out here, with no one to watch my back. And besides, it's really my problem anyway. I caused it. A fellow Breton who went by the name Esmond Tyne showed up on my doorstep about a fortnight ago. He noticed the shadow marks like you did, and I thought he was one of us. That he did, right out from under my nose. Can you believe it? It's my own formula for improved bone mold. Took me years to perfect. Well, before he ran off, he was talking some nonsense about trying to fence goods to the Reeklings at Castle Karstag. I told him he was crazy to even think about talking to those vicious little buggers, but he wouldn't listen. I'd bet a fat purse of coin that he's either dead or hiding out up there. You do that, and I'll make sure you're set up right. You won't be disappointed. The finest weapons and armor. tell Crushes he better give that pickaxe back to me, or else.
Here in his shrine.
That they have forgotten. Here do we toil.
That's close enough.
You picked a bad time to get lost.
My dear. You think you have it then? Try walking the ball.
Here in his shrine.
That they have forgotten. Never should have come here.
that you might...
That seems impractical.
set off any traps, will you?
Time to go.
I told him no once already.
We've got work to do.
I'm not chasing that map. It's a fool's errand. I'm done. Leave me alone.
Boss said to bring you back, or bring back your corpse.
Is that so? Well, you'll never get that treasure now.
Ran away, I guess. to bring you back, or bring back your corpse.
Is that so?
Yes, Sarah?
Well, you'll never get that treasure now.
Time to die! Ran away, I guess. Yes, Sarah? Sarah? There's something you need? Sarah?
Sure you can find me? It would be easy to get lost in here. way.